Hi everybody, it's Az here from Heel vs Babyface, and today's video I'll be showing you some of the changes which have been introduced to the Scarlet Monastery in the upcoming World of Warcraft expansion Mists of Pandaria. If you've been to the Scarlet Monastery before, you'll be aware that it's made up of 4 separate instances. There's the library, the armory, the cathedral and the graveyard, but you can no longer access the cathedral and the armory entrances, and that's because they've merged the library and the armory into one instance, and they've merged the cathedral and the graveyard into another, and that's where we're going to go in today. Now, if you've been to the graveyard instance before, then you'll be slightly surprised about where you spawn when you go through the portal. And that's correct, you spawn straight away at the graveyard itself. And look at the changes which have been made to it. They are substantial. It looks like it's been completely reworked from the ground up. We're looking at textures, colours, lighting. This would be how you would normally enter the instance. You'd go through, go down the stairs, run through this corridor, which would take you to the torture chamber, and coming out of there, you would go up the staircase, and that would take you to where we are now. Look at how it exists on the current client as we speak, and again, if I flip back to the beta of Mists, look at the changes. Absolute phenomenal changes to the game. Now, walking forward, you get this message saying destroy the pile of corpses, and that's because we've got the Scarlet Crusade and the Scourge fighting against each other in the graveyard. Now, I'm just going to use my AoE to blow up that corpse pile there, but if you're of the level to actually do this instance in a group, so around 30 to 35, then what you can do is kill the Scarlet Flamethrowers and then right-click onto the fuel tanks that they drop when they die, and that will actually destroy the corpse piles for you. And I'm just going to speed up the footage so you can just see me whizzing through, taking them out quickly one by one with my amazing soul harvest spell. Makes things so much easier for a warlock. Now, on an area that used to be covered in Scourge and Ghosts, the Ghosts seem to be relegated now to the back right and the back left. However, this brings us very neatly to the second significant change of the area, and that's this pathway which leads to an exit which was never there before. If I just flip again to the current client, you'll see the vast array of difference. That mausoleum that's in front of us has been shifted left to make way for this pathway to come through. Rooftops have been added, shading, textures, colouring, foliage, they've all been significantly increased to make the area look absolutely phenomenal. And the boss of this area is called Thaunos. Now, if you have been in the Scarlet Monastery before, you'll be aware that we have met Thaunos before in a slightly different guise. He comes under the term Blood Mage Thaunos, and you can find him right at the bottom of his crypt. He's now out at the top, looking meaner, wielding what looks like an absolutely amazing staff, and has a couple of very nasty little abilities. The first of which is Spirit Gale, which inflicts 149 shadow damage every second. You can simply move out of it once it's been cast on you, but he also casts this mini army of the dead, which raises 5 or so ghouls to join in the attack. Now, I'm just meleeing him to see if he does any extra abilities, and now he's cast this thing called a Vict Soul. And what a Vict Soul does, it does 499 damage every 3 seconds over a course of 6 seconds. But every time it does damage, it will cause a soul to evict from the person that's afflicted body, and that soul will try and attack the nearest party member to that person. Now, luckily I'm on my own, so it can't go away and attack anyone, but that's a mechanic to be made aware of. Unfortunately for us, Thaunos has locked his crypt, so we can't go venturing in there anymore. And he didn't drop any loot, so I'm feeling a little bit sad, hence the tears. But we can now leave the area because killing Thaunos has opened up the gateway, which will take us through to the cathedral. The first room it will take us through is a wee bit like an antechamber, and it has again some gated, some broken gates that we can't progress through. But when we leave this room, we come into more familiar surroundings with the Scarlet Monastery. Again, as you can see, the lighting has been significantly improved. The actual lights from the windows is shining properly on the ground, and the candelabras are producing a proper level of light emitting round them, as opposed to just a generic light slapped on to make it look as if it's producing something. And then coming through the gateway, we're seeing the big changes which have been made to the courtyard area of the cathedral. So again, if I flip us quickly to how the current client looks in this area, this is the corridor you go down. You see that the windows weren't producing any light on the ground, and the candelabras weren't producing any light, full stop. You've got the grass which is all around the place, the trees which look a little bit like Lego, and a very bland textures and colours. So going back to the current client, look at how different it is. The grassy area is now predominantly paved. It's only got splatterings of grass, but the foliage is dense within them to make it look more effective. I haven't changed the resolution or the graphical settings on the current client or the beta client. They're both running at ultra spec at full resolution. So this is a genuine like-for-like comparison. I'm not fudging one to make the other look better by any stretch. Now, coming up through this area here, we're just going to come to a mini boss which is called Brother Korloff. Looks like he's had a bit of a dodgy curry by the way he's moving, so I might want to keep my distance. Thank goodness I'm a ranged DPSer. But when we take care of Brother Korloff, he will actually open the door to the cathedral and allow us to access that. You don't no longer have to go through to the library and go all the way to the end, kill the boss to get the Scarlet key, which will allow you through. All that's been got rid of. So Korloff's dropped, and we can now access the cathedral itself. But even from when I was stood there, in the distance you can see these wonderful smoke effects and wonderful shadows and lighting effects which are being produced in the upper areas of the cathedral itself. And if I just look to the left and right, again the candelabras are producing proper heat, emitting a proper lighting emitting from where they are, and the textures and the lighting are phenomenal. This is how it looks if you were to log on right now. The paved area again is very bland and grassy. The textureless trees, the textureless brickwork, and coming into here, again the lighting effect very generic. There's nothing substantial. The candelabras just producing fake light, which doesn't make any sense really in physical terms. And then switching to how it looks now, they are absolutely poles apart. They've streamlined the trash a little bit. Instead of being in groups of 2 and in bigger numbers, they've just streamlined it to 4 bunches of 3 people each, and my harvest soul can take care of them very quickly, so it's nice and neat for myself. Before I show you the final boss encounter, I'm just going to show a couple of little areas of the cathedral which are of note. Now, the first one, if you've been to the Scarlet Cathedral before, you'll be aware, or some of you might be aware, some of you might not, there is a little hidden boss in this area. If I just come through here, I'm going to reminisce for a moment about how I was a young female warlock trying to make my way in the world. Yeah, my voice is definitely broken since then. And this is my first encounter that I came across when I found this secret passageway. Look, we got High Inquisitor Fairbanks hiding in this secret room. This member of the Scourge or Forsaken, which is part of the Scarlet Crusade, which never ever made any sense, but the story was never fleshed out. So what kind of state is he going to be in now? Oh, yeah, I killed him. Sorry about that. Anyway, I'm going to show you the second area of note within the cathedral now, and I'm hoping that Blizzard are going to explain exactly what this is. Maybe in a quest line, maybe in something else. But there are bodies littered everywhere, not of 2 lots, not of Scourge and Scarlet Crusade, just Scarlet Crusaders lying dead everywhere. So are they the bodies of the people that used to be in the cathedral when we first came in here and wiped out the bosses? Are they casualties of the Scourge? Are they casualties of the Insurrection, which is currently going on now? Or something different? It'd be great if Blizzard can actually explain that. And we now have a new boss for this area, Commander Durand. Now, Durand takes over from the old boss, which we wiped out, called Scarlet Commander Morgraine. But there's a little twist. Even when we take out Durand, there's a little surprise waiting for us. And that's because High Inquisitor Whitemane is back. Although we seemed to take her out when we took care of Morgraine, she didn't die, and she's back again to perform some of the same mechanics she did on the last bar fight. So when she gets down to 1 health, or to that area anyway, what would have been a kill shot, she puts you into a deep sleep, reses her champion, and her champion now does a really funky attack straight away when he gets rezzed. Whitemane herself just starts moving into a heal and smite rotation depending on what she's going to do. So I just knock her off quickly. And I just want to see if our new boss, Durand, does any different mechanics in the fight. And he just seems to slash at you, and then bang, he does like a vanish and does that wonderful, wonderful attack. When he does that attack, it does create a vanish effect in as much as it pulls you out of your attack mode, so you do have to re-engage physically to attack. So if you're a class that relies on an auto attack ability, don't forget to re-engage it in that manner. The loot seems to be the same random drops which come from those bosses. Nothing appears to have been changed there, but the aesthetics of the dungeon are absolutely phenomenal, and I cannot wait to see this in action as a level 90 heroic. I really hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please do like, please do comment, and please do subscribe to my channel. My name's Az, the channel is Heel vs Babyface, and I'll be bringing you the next video which will show the amalgamation of the armory and the library. So until next time, take care, bye bye.